up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G, the Two Gun Fix-It presents Legendary Gaming. Alright, I love Mondays because I get to rap with you about something, and this Monday, today, or whenever you're watching this, I want to talk to you about some games I've come across that I'm really anticipating are going to be fun games that are going to be released this year in 2022. But besides being just fun games, there's something else, another aspect of these games that really brought them to my attention, which made me want to tell you about them. These are all great group games, apparently. I can't say they're great, I haven't actually played them yet, but they appear to be, they seem to be great group games. But besides that, they are also solo games. You can play these games solo if you want to, if you need to, or maybe just to learn the rules. First time out of the box, before you invite everyone over, so you know what's going on and you can give them a better experience if they better understand the rules going in, right? So whatever your reason for wanting a game or enjoying a game that you can play solo, we have a list for you here. So come on, join me down the table and we'll look at some highly anticipated games for 2022 that you can also solo. Alright, so I do have several titles that I want to tell you about that I'm very excited about, and I'm hoping that one day they'll make it here to the Nerd Wasteland and to the Two Gun Pixie gaming table. For right now, though, these games all have one thing in common. Although they are all multiplayer games, every single one of these titles can be soloed. Although they are not a solo game, okay? These are made to be played with multiple characters. Now, the first one on this list, I have to admit that unlike Tommy V, I have not played this. I actually haven't played anything in this series, so I'm coming at this, giving you this this encapsulated mini preview, completely told, without any background. So take that for what it's worth. Now, the game I'm talking about is Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, the adventure game. And this takes that video game and puts it into a board game style. Now, this carries over a lot of the things that are familiar in the game that, even though I don't play it, I know of. I've played other games, similar games. I grew up cutting my teeth, so to speak, on playing RPG video games. So one of the things that I've been reading about this that sounds really, really amazing, besides the fact that this has a somewhat of a sandbox feel, from what I read anyway, I could be wrong on this, but it seems to have a bit of a sandboxy feel. But besides that is the characters. The character that you are going to make, that you are going to be running in this, much like this and similar video games, you're going to be creating this character. This is going to be a unique character. This isn't like picking a character out of a board game and picking the barbarian, or choosing to play the centaur, or I don't know. Is there any games that have centaurs? That'd be kind of cool. But you see my point. My point is these are generally and specifically, actually, unique characters that you are building to start with at the beginning of the game. And I absolutely love that. Being an old school RPG or old school RPG video gamer, something like this completely appeals to me and makes me want to look more into the game. Now, there's also this aspect to it, which I feel is somewhat taken from the fact that this style system is in the video game itself, and that is the fact that this game has a sort of choose your own adventure or endless quest sort of feel to it. If you're familiar with either of those 80s/90s style adventure books and Dungeons and Dragons books. It has a feel like this. It is so story driven, as it should be if it is going to be paying any sort of homage, at the very least, if not directly being, as it is trying to be, directly being this game itself. So that is a great aspect. I love that when games do that, and it adds into this whole thematic feel that you're in a world, right? Now, because of the fact that it is sort of running a endless quest style adventure here, don't think that that's all this is all about, because there is a fair deal of apparently, good old-fashioned board game combat going on here. And from what I've been reading, from what others who have experienced this game have said, it definitely feels that there is a nice balance between those two aspects of the gameplay here, between being a combat-driven style board game and also being a story driven sort of endless quest choose your own adventure style game put into a board game box. And the fact that it is reaching this balance, or allegedly so, I'll have to be the final arbitrator on that for myself when I get to play the game. But it is appealing to me. It is something else about this game that is making me look at it in a gaming radar, gotta get this game sort of sense. Something else that I read that I hope is true, it must be, obviously, many people have talked about it, is that this is a campaign setup kind of situation. You'll be running campaign-style games. I love that. I don't have a problem with that at all. But what I really hope is true is that they said that these campaigns are short. They're like 3-part campaigns at a time. And I just think that's really wonderful, because it makes it so that you are going to be able to feel like you can finish this campaign, and it's not just going to get away from you, you know? Now, fans of the video games of this series, especially this particular one in the series, are going to be more drawn, I think, than anyone else to this board game. But I really want to let you know that even if you haven't played it, like me, I really think you should take a look at this game. You should find out more information on it, because this is a really interesting, fun, deep, epic style level board game. And even if you're not a fan or player of the game, I think you can separate that and just be able to appreciate this board game for what it is. Now, another game on this list that I come across is called ISS Vanguard, which plays up to 4 players, and also is a solo-style game. And I like the sci-fi setting. It has a bit of a sci-fi soap opera kind of feel to it. Now, this game's sci-fi style of advancement and exploration also apparently has a sort of deep-rooted system of hard choices that are going to be coming up that you, the player, are going to have to make. Now, I was first introduced to this style of storytelling, if you will, with the Dead of Winter series. And ever since then, I've been a huge fan of this concept, and I don't believe it's used enough. Actually, outside of Plaid Hat Games and their Dead of Winter series and Forgotten Waters, and they have a sci-fi one. Geez, I'm blanking on the title of it now. Gen 17 or something. Besides those, I really haven't seen this implemented in any other company's games. So to read that this game offers me, the player, this opportunity to have to make these really hardcore decisions in order to see advancement through the game. Wow, I want to try that. Now, I was reading that as you play this game and you're going to be going on missions, that you get to send a crewman down to do things. But I also read that there's like 100. Literally, I'm not just picking that number out. There's like literally like 100 different crewmen, women, crewers, 100 different crewers that you have available to you. And the very first thing I thought when I read that was, my God, the replayability alone, just because how each one of these different, characters they're going to have these different abilities, these different crewers that they're doing. So each one of them is going to bring a really different experience to whatever it is they have to do. Wow, yeah, replayability, huh? So there's this thing, the ship book, I believe it was called, if I remember when I was reading about this game a little bit more. So this is where the game has a legacy aspect to it, where as you are going through the storyline, things on the ship are going to change. And one of the ways I was reading that they do this is by the use of adding cards, sliding them into different parts of the ship as the game goes on, and the crew members that like die or get lost, or if anything, well, I don't know what can happen to them. That's it. That's gone for good for the rest of the story. So it is bringing this legacy style of continuity as well as consequence. Consequence and continuity. Those are two things I really enjoy in any story. So when they're in a board game, I'm that much more interested. I like that I was seeing that player downtime. It's not a moment where you're doing nothing. That apparently, in between your turn, there's going to be a lot of discussion, a lot of talking, a lot of plotting, a lot of figuring things out with you and the other players. This is great. Whenever a game is able to do anything to cut down or eliminate the player downtime is a huge boon in any game, because you don't want to be just sitting there doing nothing, while 4 other people, maybe 3 to 4, maybe 5 other people are doing things. It takes time. You get bored. You get on your phone, and next thing you know, you're not paying attention to the game. You don't know what the hell's going on. No, that's not fun. But when you're engaged, even when it's out of your turn, yeah, trust me, that's the kind of game you want to play. Honestly, what I've been reading about this game, it really does sound like a really fun, epic style sci-fi soap opera of a high adventure. This hits a lot of target marks that I enjoy in board games. So, and then on top of that, the fact that it can be soloed, even more fun. Jurassic World, the legacy of Isla Nublar. I can never say that right. I'm sorry. But you know what I mean. You've seen the picture. You've read it yourself anyway. All right, so I really do enjoy games based on this IP, whether it is directly based on this IP or whether, wink, wink, it's not really Jurassic Park, wink, wink. It's just a dinosaur board game, wink, wink. You know the ones I'm talking about. And they're fun. I'm not putting them down. I've enjoyed them. The entire theme, I think, is real fun because it has this whole, it has the same feel as Jaws. And what I mean is the mayor of Jaws knew what was going on, but the town needed the money. So who cares if a few people get eaten? That's kind of like Jurassic Park. Yeah, a few dinosaurs will escape, some people will be getting eaten, but it's making us some scratch. We're making some money off this. Who cares? They know the danger when they come here. Which isn't a bad argument, actually. But I do really like these games. And this is bringing, again, as I was just talking about with the last game, this is bringing a legacy style. It's not just called Legacy of Isla Nublar. And I know you're probably killing you a little bit every time I mispronounce that. I'm not doing it on purpose, I promise. But it does bring this legacy aspect to the game because as the stories go on, they're all interconnected. And like earlier stories, you're going to be using the billionaire guy Hammond, or you're going to be using different characters early on, is my point. Well, later on, that's when the doctors are going to come in, the mathematician, the chaosician, that is. We're going to get to see Jeff Goldblum show up. And you're going to get a chance to use these characters then. So things change. Some characters are going to get hurt, and maybe you're not going to want to bring them into the next adventure. So it does have this legacy style feel to it. Things that happen to the attractions, to the park, to the dinosaurs at the end of one scene are going to carry over to the next. You're going to have to make repairs. People are going to get lost, damaged, and yes, eaten. I also love the fact that this game is designed by Prospero Hall, and I've really come to enjoy them. A lot of the games that I've played by them, I've enjoyed all of the games that they've done, and I'm always looking forward to any title that's coming up next by them. And it's also by Funko Games, and Funko Games is really coming out of the gate. Well, I mean, they didn't just come out of the gate, but they are a newer company, a newer footprint being made in the board game industry, and they're coming out really hot. I'm liking that as well. It's like they're doing this with a purpose, is the feeling I'm getting. So all these reasons together is why I'm looking forward to this IP in this particular board game. Now, these last two I've mentioned before, they've come up a lot in this channel, but they're still not here. And these do fit the category of games that are multiplayer, but you can solo at the same time. And as we all know, sometimes, especially in the last 2.5 years, sometimes that becomes important, my friends. So let's take a quick look. Since I've talked about these so much, I just want to bring them up one more time because they deserve it. So a great game coming out. Actually, by the time this video drops, it's already been available to most backers, and the rest of the Kickstarter backers, such as myself, should be having it by the time this video drops, and it should be available in stores by the time you're watching this video, and that is Return to Dark Tower. This game is so highly anticipated. It may be one of the most highly anticipated board games as of yet. I don't want to say of all time, because it's only 2022. But as of yet, definitely one of the very most anticipated board games. It's branching out from the original well-loved Dark Tower game, and they've not given us a remake of it. It's not Dark Tower, it's Return to Dark Tower. So this is an update. This is a different game, and this is 1,000 times larger and more epic than the original could have been. If you're a fan of the original game, or maybe you missed out originally when Dark Tower was out and available, and that's always pissed you off a little bit, well, now you have another chance. Maybe like me, you love the original game, you remember it fondly from the original days, and now you want more. Either way, this game is going to have you covered. It's a game you can solo, or you can play up to 4 players. This is going to have a very deep storyline going on. It's run by an app, and there's so much material out for the app already right now, and more continuously. They have plans for it coming out, some deep plans that I believe it's also going to eventually at one point go public, so anyone can be able to upload these. Don't quote me on that. I believe I remember reading that. But this is it. This is it. If you're a fan of the old for whatever reason, or if you're just interested in how they've updated it and made it new, yeah, Return to Dark Tower. Go look it up. Now, the final game is another Kickstarter that we're waiting for. It's hopefully by the time this drops, it is at the point where it is shipping out. They finished the last minute tweaks, and it is shipping out hopefully by the time this video drops, and that is Arceus. And this has all the high adventure fun of the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie, well, at least the first one, with a fair amount of steampunk thrown in for some extra fun. This is a deep level campaign game. This has legacy-like options without being a real legacy game. You are going to be able to have repeated plays, not only of the story itself, but they also have a dungeon crawl version to it, so that you can always play this game, regardless of how many times you may have done the legacy version of it. That is one of the most amazing things, and I think that every game that publishes a legacy game should have that option of a dungeon crawl, a reusable campaign-less adventure after you've done the main legacy campaign. And this is what Arceus has given to us. on top of some of the most beautiful miniatures I've ever seen. Absolutely beautiful. With a box set, with which the box is holding boxes which are going to be used as the rooms in this pyramid that you are steamrolling through. So those are a list of 5 games that I personally find very they're highly anticipated by me. They are, and each one of them has the ability to be played solo, but none of them are a solo only game. I think right now we're in a time period where that is really important. And that's why I wanted to bring these titles to your attention. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm your buddy Big John at G for Two Gun Pixel Presents Legendary Gaming, and I am out of here.